Have you ever booted up a game just for the sake of running around the overworld? Maybe you needed to kill an hour or so you boot up a completed save file and walk around, taking in the digital scenery. Or maybe you put something on while you thought about what you really wanted to play, ended up running around for a little bit, and then you look out your window, see that it's dark out, and realize, oh, okay, so I just played this for 4 hours. I did this a lot growing up, especially as I was getting older and was buying games less often. I'd boot up my save file in Twilight Princess and just run around the world of Hyrule, maybe go diving with the Zoras and then stop in at the market to buy an apple or two. I'd turn on some Fable 2 and go out on a midnight date with my zombie girlfriend. Thank God you don't disappear in this one. Sometimes I'd even boot up a round of Naruto and pull back to look at the scenery. No, not that one. That one. Yeah. I'm that old. I love the Storm games, but this is what I grew up with. I miss this era. I'd spend hours of my childhood and even some of my teenagehood running around these vast open-ish worlds long after I had beaten the campaign. But then I'd find that one location, the one that would make me put my controller down after turning on first-person mode and just stop. There was always something about these locations that just felt so fitting to stop in, you know? I'd take a seat and just take in the scenery, maybe make up some kind of headcanon as to why my character would choose to stop here. And then that got me thinking the other night, if I lived in these worlds, where would I like to hunker down? Where would I like to find a spot and just sit down and relax? Maybe even lay back and take a little nap? What do you mean? Why are you surprised? It's in the title of the video. What do you mean you didn't read it? What did you do when clicking on a video and you didn't read it? You can't just click on a video and not read it. What, the thumbnail? Just like you saw my face and you were like, oh, a Starla video, I'm gonna click on that. How did you not read the title? It's right there. It's like always below it. What else would you be doing? What do you mean you didn't read the title? Do you even know how to read? I'm sorry. I lost my temper. I need to take a nap. I need to sit down and I need to take a nap. I need to find at least like 10 places to take a good nap. Maybe a few more. I don't know. You get it, right? Few things before we start. This isn't an objective list. I'm just naming 10 places that I would personally be able to chill in. If you've got a location in mind that you don't see anywhere in this video, leave them in the comments. Thing number 2. While a majority of these games were initially released before 2016, I may be spoiling a few little tidbits around them, so just keep that in mind if you see them and you haven't played the game yet. Thing number 3, and the only real rule I have for this list, is I'm building on the assumption that all of these locations would be completely safe to take a nap in. That means there wouldn't be anything hostile, like any enemies in the area, or there wouldn't be anything in the atmosphere that would make it impossible for me to be able to sleep. Alright, here we go. My name is Starla, and this is my top 10 places to take a nap in gaming. I'm honestly surprised if you're surprised. I can't be known as the retro one from space if I don't have something space-themed in my video, right? And no, I didn't just put this on here because of the announcement for the Mario Galaxy movie. I wrote this down on my phone before it was even announced. Here's proof. But here we are, the Comet Observatory, eh? I feel like you could take a nap pretty much anywhere around here. I mean, look how nice these cushions are. Mario seems to have gotten comfy already. The flower patches kind of strung around in some of these areas would be really cushiony and comfortable, and the reactor sitting in the very middle of the whole ship I feel like would make this place warm, but comfortably warm, like sitting in the covers after a cool day. I just feel so safe here. No matter what could be going on in the world, I could come back here and just let all those worries fade away, hang out with Rosalina and the Lumas, maybe get a bedtime story in or something. Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 were released on the Switch, and while I'm definitely not a fan of that price tag, I'm happy that people that didn't own a Wii back in the day are going to be able to experience these games for the first time. I know I was just talking about games I had played when I was a kid, but I couldn't talk about vibey, chill locations in games without mentioning one of the most relaxing locations in the Sonic franchise. Fear not though, without spoiling too much, every other game that's on this list was released before I turned 18, so the childhood thing still applies. I love Sonic Frontiers. It's the one Sonic game that I've always wanted. I did start a little late in the franchise. My first Sonic game was Sonic Unleashed when I was like 12, and while I do like the level-based design they've always gone for, I always wanted a Sonic game where I could just run forever, not worry about time trials or ranks, and just enjoy an open zone as Sonic. When Sonic Frontiers was showed to be the first open zone Sonic game, I was immediately ecstatic about that. Throw in a couple extra characters, interesting combat, and kick-ass music, and you've now made my favorite Sonic game. Big's fishing pond kind of just made what was already perfect in my eyes that much better. I'm a sucker for fishing minigames. Despite the lingering threat going on these islands, Big was able to find another pond and pick up a fishing rod again, and I respect that. I couldn't pick one specific fishing location, so I just went with all 4 of them because honestly, this area is beautiful. I love the way the flowers move along the wind, the little particles in the sea and the sky, and I feel like because this is technically simulated, the music that you can hear would actually be playing in the area. It's like the sky is one big Bluetooth speaker. And this whole nap thing works because I unironically have this song on my phone in a sleep playlist, so you know, I wouldn't have any issues. When I was making this list, I felt like I needed a place for every season, and Snowdon was the first one to cross my mind when it came to winter. I listened to this song the second Christmas season comes around the corner, and while it is a song for a town encompassed by snow, it just makes me feel so warm. It gives off that nostalgic vibe of your hometown neighborhood during the holidays, with snow sprinkling down from the sky and everything. Can you see it? All the Christmas lights along the ends of the roof, the little reindeers made of sticks, maybe a few built snowmen on the lawn, and inflatable Santas just barely holding it together. I can. It makes me feel like a kid again being here, and the best part is, it doesn't seem like it would be all that cold. Sure, you might be feeling a bit of a chill at the end of your nose, they've got the ice blocks over on the end of town, but with the right jacket on and the warmth emanating from grill bees, I could see myself taking a quick little nap pretty much anywhere around town. I kind of feel like I'm already there. Itself isn't exactly pretty on the eyes, I'll give you that, and it would probably take me a little bit to actually get comfortable enough to be able to lay down and fall asleep, you know? Hold on, Starla, let me get this straight. Your next spot is Atlantis? Like, under the water Atlantis? You're gonna be drowning, you can't breathe underwater. What, like you can in space? Remember my rule? Assume that it's safe? Well, we're following that rule here, because the only way you can get down to Atlantis is by Mumbo using his jumbo magic to make it breathable. So guess what? A plausible location. I'm gonna take a nap underwater, and I bet it would feel fantastic. There might be that lingering fear in the back of my head that water could still enter my nose, or maybe being unconscious gets rid of the magic, but I feel like once I got over all of those anxieties, I could absolutely find a way to fall asleep pretty much anywhere here. Think about how it might feel to be able to fall asleep around here, this whole no gravity feeling. You wouldn't even need like scuba gear or some sort of special tunic, it's just you and your ability to swim. I would absolutely love this. I could see myself swimming around here for hours or just laying on my back and allowing the water to kind of flow me around, you know?
Have you ever been on a boat and then tried to go to bed the same day and you can still kind of feel movement by your back as if the water's still beneath you? I feel like it would kind of be something like that, you know? My body would be swaying in the water, moving my body a little bit. I just love the water so much. I feel like it would be super comfortable. It'd be like falling asleep in the air, kind of like flying, you know what I mean?
The easy choice for this might be the campfire area in Zanarkand, but I'm actually talking about this long-winded path. I love this long stretch of road for some reason, how cracked and aged it looks. I love how still the water is beneath it all, still holding up some of the rubble. I love the look of the stars in the sky, you know? The wandering souls from the far plain, it all just adds to the charm of this place. There's just something so enchanting about this Zanarkand at this point in time. You might be surprised that I'm not picking Zanarkand at its peak, but it is called the city that never sleeps. That might deter the napping a little bit. If I could live in this world at this specific place in time, I would sit here for hours wondering what kind of people walked across these paths when they were still built, what all these buildings used to be before they crumbled apart. Pave the road out a little bit, remove some of the fiends, and maybe handle a certain guy. And I genuinely believe this could be the most enchanting location on this list. I almost put Macalania Forest here. I almost did. But when I got a look at that sky while running around, I was just taken in, mesmerized. I'm very fascinated with the passage of time and how that changes the world around us. So I'd be thinking for hours about what kind of people used to walk this same path before it was, you know. This is the ideal Zanarkand that I'd be able to take a nap in. I wouldn't want to come here when, minor spoilers, it's turned into a tourist attraction in the second game. This is the ideal moment in time I would want to be here in Zanarkand. I'm showing off the version from BDSP because it's more modern, but this could honestly be the DS version as well. I absolutely love the Sinnoh region. Generation 4 was the first one I started with Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, and I have so many fond memories of running around this entire world with all the Pokemon that I had collected. I was always drawn to Eterna Forest even after I had beat the game. I'm not sure why. I mean, I did spend a lot of time here since I had picked Piplup and the Grass Gym Leader was here, but I always loved just how peaceful and melancholy it was, you know? I love the tune of the music, the sun rays as they beam down, kind of lighting up the place. All of the trees encompass this entire area, keeping the Pokemon in it safe from the outside world. Considering the topic is about napping, I feel like this would be the perfect place to go camping with your friends, or at least by yourself. I mean, the Pokemon here don't seem all that aggressive. They've got a few poison attacks, but as long as you keep to yourself, I'm sure it's fine. That, and I know this house is haunted, but I'm sure it's got a working bathroom, so that's a plus for me. Fable 2 was one of, if not, the first non-Nintendo game I ever beat. Like, it was one of the first games I owned that wasn't on a Nintendo console. I got to borrow a friend's copy at the time, and I was instantly hooked to this world's gameplay and story, but more specifically at the time, its graphics. I think the best looking game I had at the time was maybe Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword, and that was on the Wii, so this was a huge game changer for me. I recognized that this was an upgrade. You spend a lot of Fable 2 going up and down Bower Lake, so you really get accustomed to all of these paths, all of these bridges, and the big lake at the very middle of it all. I can't count how many times I've had my friends come up and down this path with me, you know? Swam through the same lake or went down the same path to end up in Bowerstone. There's so many good memories tied to Bower Lake, but I don't really have anything else to say about it besides that. A lot of the good friends that I have now, we bonded over this game, whether we were playing it together or I was watching them play it through single player. It's also a crime that Fable 2 and 3 haven't been ported to Steam. I mean, come on, man. Anniversary is on there. Bring online back with Steam. I wish I had more to say about it, honestly. This area is really special to me. I experienced so many different runs with so many different people and throughout different eras of my life, you know? I'll never forget how it felt to exit that camp and see the world that this game had in store for me. Now we're getting to some of my absolute favorite spots in gaming. These next 3 places I have just hung out in for literally hours. Sometimes I would turn them on just for ambience while I'm working on my homework or something. But I'm starting to feel a little overdressed, underdressed. I don't know, but I don't think this is fitting the vibe right now. Do you guys mind if I go check out? You think Link would have anything? Doesn't look like he's home. I'm sure he won't mind. Okay, where would his clothes be? Basement. It's probably gonna be in the basement. That is much better. I feel so much more at home now. Where did Link get this outfit anyways? I know a lot of people initially complained about how long Twilight Princess is. I mean, you don't really get to venture outside of this forest until you complete the first temple, but that's part of what makes me love Ordon Village so much. Outset Island in Wind Waker does a really good job of making you feel like Link has an actual family, but Twilight Princess, at least in my opinion, takes that a step further by making you feel like Link has an actual home. We spend 3 whole days in this village helping out the townsfolk and hanging out with the Ordon children that adore Link, see him as a role model. This is where Link grew up. This is where he learned to ride a horse, where he learned to wield a sword. We only get to live through a fraction of the life that Link had here within the last 17 years. He was probably there for a lot of the children's first steps, their first day at school, however the curriculum works here. And it's really comforting to know that at the end of Twilight Princess, he is still at home, riding around in Faron Woods, probably running errands for either the people of Ordon or for Princess Zelda herself. I'm definitely a big supporter of the theory that Ocarina of Time Link married Malon because look at this place. The signs are all there in Twilight Princess. Not only do we know that this Link is a direct descendant of that Link, but he knows Epona's song. I don't think it's a coincidence that this Epona is attached to this Link in the same way that this Epona is attached to this Link. If I could get away from the real world in like a week, get rid of all of my electronics and just live out on the countryside, I feel like I would choose Ordon Village above any other place on this list. The environment is just so warm and inviting. I feel like I could take a nap pretty much anywhere here, even at the ranch. This is the most populated area on the list, but I could absolutely find a spot to take a nap here, whether it's in the real Twilight Town or the simulated one. Although I don't think I'd know the difference. I love the warm dusk atmosphere and all the shops around town, and while I do appreciate the upgrade that I got in Kingdom Hearts 3, I feel like I gotta go for the original one in Kingdom Hearts 2. I especially love Sunset Terrace. I feel like not a lot of people talk about it when they talk about Twilight Town. There's just something about the warm vibes of Sunset Terrace that really pulls me in. There's just a different vibe in this place than Twilight Town itself. I feel like this is the place you'd want to have like a first date or have your official hangout spot. I can't take hangers, so this is where I'd go. Sunset Hill is exactly where I'd want my nap spot to mean. I mean, look at that sunset. It's so beautiful and atmospheric up here. I feel like the only sounds I'd hear would be the occasional birds chirping or the train that runs underneath. This entire town just feels so cozy and safe, and it's so close to my #1 spot. But honestly, nothing could beat what's on #1. There was a point in my life where I only owned 3 games that weren't on a Nintendo console. Fable 2, Brutal Legend, and Dragon Age Origins. Out of every other game that I've ever played, including the ones on this list or the ones in my top 5 favorite Zelda games, Origins has always remained at the very top. I played it during a particularly difficult time in my life, and then I played it again. And again, over and over and over again, I'd make the same build with the same class and the same race, create the same character, make the same decisions, romance the same guy, and get the same ending. And I never got tired of it. Every single time I joined this world, regardless of the fact that I was going to make the same decisions, every single time I booted up a new run of Dragon Age Origins, I would discover something new. Even if I'd make the same choices, I'd find better ways to make them. Even if I'd gone to the same locations, I'd find faster ways to complete them. Even if I'd have the exact same conversations the exact same way, I would find more reasons to appreciate them. Dragon Age Origins is unironically the greatest game I've ever played, but I'm gonna get at that in a future video if you're cool with it. For now though, we're just gonna talk about this one location, which is camp. You can come here at any point to talk about the quests that you've completed, to level any of them up, to sell some things, or to just re-equip some things. Unless you use a mod, it's always nighttime at camp, which seems to imply that when you come here, you're settling in after a long day of adventuring. Sometimes when you come to camp, a companion will even stop you for a conversation, whether it's to just ask you a personal question or to figure out where your head's at after a quest. I think if they hate you enough, they even threaten to leave you at this point, but I've never personally gotten that far. And if a companion actually does leave your party, they're no longer at their spot in camp. they're just gone and they don't come back. I'm getting ahead of myself, I'm sorry, I just love this game. I feel like the exact moment I'd want to be at camp would be at the very end of the game. Without spoiling anything, you can reload your epilogue save, which happens right after you beat the final boss, and you can return to camp and just play through the DLCs. I'm not sure how canon this instance is, but I don't care. This is the camp I'd want to stay at. Maybe I would insert myself as the Grey Warden hero and talk to some of my companions about the journey that we just went on, see how they're feeling, and figure out if they got one more adventure left in them for old time's sake. Or maybe I would just, be a version of myself, some sort of wandering trader from another land here to take a break and rest after everything that's happened. Maybe I'd get a chance to actually speak to this hero before they disappear from the rest of the franchise, figure out what their plans are and see where they're headed. But what I'd really like to do is talk to all the companions that are strung around the camp, Talk to them about what they've been doing this whole time, how they joined the Grey Warden's side. They may even have thoughts that they didn't want the Grey Warden to know, for better or worse. And then at the end of the night, when everyone's settling in, I pitch a tent or find a comfy spot and just turn in for the night. Maybe I'll have dreams of all the adventures that I've been told. And the best part is, everything that I just talked about is stuff that you can do at camp, whether you brute force your way through every single option or limit yourself to 2 conversations per companion. Returning to this campsite every night is extremely refreshing and even a little therapeutic. Out of every location I've ever visited, every world that I've been to, every game that I've shown off, this is the place I genuinely feel like I could let down all of my defenses and take a nap, Like, this is a nice comfy spot, right? I could just put this down and stretch my arms. Yo, thanks so much for watching the video. If you're down with the vibe, feel free to subscribe. No big long outro today. I'm here to thank some of the high tier members of the Patreon. Thigh Heavenly, Gilded Jackal, Sunny Castiform, Nightcaps and Nostalgia, Snikey Olay, Hell64, Link is Bad 6, Audiomancer, Doobie Giovanelli, Pine Guardian, Red Blaze 27, and Malachi Fox. Thank you so much for the support. You guys are my absolute superstars.